Aquarius rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 9th of February until the 15th of February. So the very first stop is a Mercury, Pallas Athene, and North Node conjunction, which is taking place in your second house, the house of money, values, and self-worth. Maybe it's an idea for a new way to make money, kind of like coming to you while you are thinking about something else. So it's not necessarily a way of thinking of kind of strongly that, yeah, I want to figure out how to make money. It just comes automatically. Or you can realize that something you used to price highly no longer holds any type of importance to you. Or you start seeing certain type of financial patterns, how your emotions are connected to finances. Or maybe you need to start thinking about how your spending habits and your emotional well-being are tied together. Or maybe you can even find a creative way to use what you already own to solve, for example, certain type of financial matters as well. Or maybe you start going towards a destined road. Mercury is the planet of creativity in your chart, as well as other people's money. So it can even indicate that money is gonna come to you, something that might be actually growing your bank account, but maybe you need to be using a touch of creativity or risk taking. It can even indicate that your intuition is strongly telling you that you need to be investing into something. Now, the very next step is Sun in your first house, which is in sextile to Chiron. And this is about bravery, bravery to be able to speak about confidently about something that is important to you. This is kind of like when I don't stutter anymore, when I don't allow anyone to kind of misunderstand me. I'm going to give a clear message about what is happening, what the solution is, and how I feel. Or maybe you can even use your unique identity to deliver a message that no one else has got the courage to say. Or there is a personal growth going on here. And maybe this is connected to your communication style, like the way you speak to siblings, your friends, and so forth. I can even imagine that somehow you are walking in the street and then someone recognizes you, which could be, of course, especially if you've got a YouTube channel, for example. And then this would be, um, kind of like boosting your confidence. If this happens, it should happen around the 10th or the 11th of February. And I also believe that this could indicate that you realize that I don't need to think like others. I can have my own opinion. I can have my ways of talking to people. Who cares? Also, we've got a Mars and Vesta conjunction happening in your first house as well. And now this is super important. The reason being is because Saturn, a few hours after this conjunction, will be moving into your third house, which is the sign of Aries. And this is about you committing, for example, that I'm going to be saving or I'm going to be kind of like in a building phase. I'm going to be rebranding my identity. My body is going to be my sacred body. My self-image is going to be my sacred fire. This is about a new way, a disciplined way, a more of a, like a dedication towards building up your social media or the way I speak, the way I write, the way I teach. So therefore, you can become this local pioneer with this as well. It's kind of like leading a movement in your local environment. Vesta and Mars together is a mental focus. And all this mental focus seems to be on a specific subject of study or communication style. Maybe it's a technological study so that you can navigate your website better and so forth. Or simply it's kind of like a body architect. So you're rebuilding your physical strength, and maybe you promise that you're going to be moving a little bit more around as well. Or you learn to stop oversharing and instead use your words as kind of like strategic tools. Or I think you are potentially promising to yourself that you're going to be the truest form of the self. And therefore, it might be restructuring the way you interact with others. We do have quite an opposition this week as well, and there's Jupiter in Cancer and Juno in Capricorn. This is a bit of a tension here. This is about having to work and potentially being tired, but I've got a deadline to hit. This could talk to you about that your work is slowly but surely expanding, but you have got these spiritual commitments that is kind of pulling your focus away. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult to focus due to some love stories. Or maybe you want to feel better, you want to kind of improve your vitality, but it's kind of like a secret spiritual commitment or a secret kind of like, it's a vow, it's a kind of like a obligation, negative patterns, self-sabotaging patterns that are potentially holding you back. And this could be something that you want to start kind of like dealing with. It really feels like that it's an unpaid karmic debt here that you might have promised a really, really long time ago. And maybe this is the reason why things are not improving in your life. Now, what I mean by this, because why would we promise ourselves negative things? But, certain things leave our mouth, which we might not even remember anymore. But it starts kind of like it gets built into our subconscious. Yeah, and this could indicate that you are ready to commit to your physical body as well. Or I can even imagine that you are hired to do a job that requires you to work kind of like in a closed institution, in secret, behind the scenes, and then you are a little bit locked away from the society. Or maybe it's about enjoying the work that you do, but you can become your worst inner critic. Or maybe this is you being in a relationship, but at the same time, it feels like I'm still alone. We are not doing things on a daily basis together. Maybe you can even realize that to grow your business, you have to potentially spend a little bit more time creating or meditating or being in a little bit more in silence. Arachne enters your 12th house this week as well. To be precise, it's on the 13th of February. And Arachne represents complexity. So this is about practice makes perfect. So imagine that you start a practice of decoding your dreams, or you decoding a lot of information. You do that in solitude. So you start identifying unseen patterns that have been sabotaging you from your subconscious, from the shadows. Or you can be working on a project that is entirely hidden from everyone, and you are focusing now on the technical side of things. Or maybe you start to study a complex spiritual system. Typically with this combination, what comes to my mind is the tree of life with Capricorn, or a certain type of sacred geometry. I can even imagine that you are trying to find a way to influence a situation, but from behind the scenes, kind of like asking for a favor from someone, but, kind of in secret. We have got Amor entering Pisces, which is your second house. So we've got quite a lot of focus going on in the second house, right? But maybe you realize that your most valuable asset is actually kindness. Or money is going to come to you from an unexpected kind of spiritual source. Or I can imagine that you realize that the fact that I might not feel like I'm enough has nothing to do with your bank balance. Maybe this is connected to love. Or maybe you want to be giving a present to someone, to a cause you love unconditionally, or you are going to be gifted certain type of presents. Now, that's also possible as well. And last but not least, we have got asteroid Lilith moving into your third house, which is Aries. And that is a very direct way of speaking to others. That has got a lot of heat. So you can be surprising others, basically. This is about rejecting, having to think in certain ways. I'm going to follow my own line of thoughts. This is about having an argument with a relative, a sibling, a neighbor, because someone might have overstepped the boundaries. Or you're going to start teaching yourself a very difficult skill, but you do that kind of like at a lightning speed. Or I can even imagine that you just decide, yeah, I'm going to go on this solo trip and I'm going to explore a new place because I need to be clearing my head. So the vibe of the week for you is finances and self-worth. And it feels like that this week can bring you a breakthrough. As Saturn enters your third house, I think you are tasked with mastering your mind, your local influence, and your skills. But we still have got a very strong first house, which is about being present. So this is about figuring out what is sacred to you, creating that newfound autonomy, speaking the truth, and making the necessary arrangements in your local environment. So good luck, Aquarius, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.